So, good afternoon or good morning, everyone, depending where you are. It's nice to see so many X-Road enthusiasts here today. This is the last presentation of the event, but hopefully you still have energy for 15 or 20 more minutes. So, Raido and I will give you a brief update on what's happening regarding X-Road 8. And yeah, let's start with the X-Road 8 vision. So the goal with X-Road 8 is to transform X-Road into a data space solution. And of course, we want to keep all the good that the X-Road already has, but at the same time get rid of all the bad and the ugly. It means that we want to modernize X-Road, we want to make it more modular, more extensible, and of course, more interoperable. And there are so many changes that we are going to implement in X-Road 8 that this list is, the main functional changes on a very high level. So the biggest change in X-Road 8 is support for Dataspaces. And in practical terms, it means support for the Dataspace Protocol DSP and the Decentralized Claims Protocol DCP. But in addition to that, we have already implemented a lot of changes regarding the architecture. And now I'm talking about the application architecture of different X-Road components. And we want to provide better support for containerization. For example, now in X-Road 7, we already have the security server sidecar, but it's a single Docker container running all the security modules and processes. In X-Road 8, instead, we are going to have multiple containers. Basically, each security server module will run inside its own Docker container, and then a security server instance will consist of multiple separate containers communicating with each other over gRPC. So we are moving towards container native approach. Then we are also improving the security. Until now, all the secrets, they have been stored on the file system, but in X-Road 8, we are introducing a new secret store component where secrets will be stored. Then we have also improved the configurability. X-Road has a lot of system parameters that can be configured by the security server administrators. Until now, the parameters are configured on the file system using configuration files, but in X-Road 8, the configuration will be possible over the security server UI and management API. However, the X-Road modules related to the parameters, they will still need to be restarted manually. And then one more thing I want to mention from here is the simplified auto-login setup. So in X-Road 7, the auto-logging is a separate module. An X-Road extension needs to be installed and configured manually, but in X-Road 8, it's included in the initial setup, and it can be disabled and enabled using the UI. When it comes to the X-Road protocols, like I already mentioned, support for Dataspaces will introduce some pretty significant changes there. When we look at the communication between two security servers, right now in X-Road 6 and 7, we have the X-Road message transport protocol, but in X-Road 8, we are introducing the Dataspace protocol and decentralized claims protocol that are used between the security servers. However, adding those protocols doesn't affect the protocol that is used between the consumer and provider information systems and the security server. So in practice, the X-Road message protocol for REST and the X-Road message protocol for SOAP. So despite the addition of these two new protocols, the communication between the security server and connected information systems is fully backwards compatible. So no changes to the connected information systems are required when migrating to X-Road 8. Then another very big change that we are going to implement is related to terminology and component naming. So since X-Road will be transformed into a dataspace solution, we also want to align the terminology with Dataspaces. And in practice, it means that we need to implement changes on multiple layers. Documentation, user interfaces, APIs and technical interfaces, and even component names. And here I have listed some changes that will take place in X-Road 8, but please note that this is not a complete list, and also the terms presented here, they are still subject to change. But just to mention a few examples of the changes that will take place that are visible to everyone are, for example, X-Road members will become X-Road participants, and when it comes to component naming, the central server will become the X-Road registry, and the security server will become the X-Road agent. But the full list of terms that are changed will be introduced later, closer to the release date. And of course, all the documentation will be updated and aligned with this new terminology. And the aim of all these changes is to make X-Road more interoperable. X-Road, of course, will remain interoperable with X-Road, meaning that it provides interoperability within one X-Road ecosystem and between two different X-Road ecosystems through federation. But in addition to that, X-Road will be interoperable with other data exchange ecosystems and dataspaces that use the same technical specifications that X-Road 8 will use. However, it's very important to keep in mind that it's not a plug and play type of interoperability, so additional work will be required when connecting X-Road to other dataspaces. But still, compared to the situation today, this will be a very big improvement. And when it comes to the initial release of X-Road 8, it's also important to remember that the initial release will not include all the changes that have been planned for X-Road 8. It will include support for the dataspace protocol stack, updated terminology, new component names, containerization improvements, and so on. But at the same time, there are also features that we already know that are included in later X-Road 8 releases, like, for example, technical interoperability with the Gaia X Trust framework and light context, which means support for consuming services without a consumer security server. So overall, X-Road 8 will be implemented using iterative development methods. Not all the new features are included in the initial release, but they are introduced step by step in multiple minor releases. And when it comes to the implementation timeline, the initial X-Road 8 release will be published December this year, and then the following 8.1 release next year in 2027 during Q3. That's the initial plan. And then many of you are probably wondering what happens to X-Road 8. Earlier this year, we released the last new feature release for X-Road 7, which means no features are developed for X-Road 7 anymore. But of course, we continue to support X-Road 7. We publish bug fixes and security patches. For example, we are about to release the version 7.8.1 in the near future. And the support for Xroad 7 will continue at least the whole next year, probably also during 2028. But when it comes to the long-term support of Xroad 8, nothing has been decided yet. But at least at the moment, it's safe to assume that it will be supported at least until the end of 2027. And as soon as decisions are taken regarding the long-term support, we will definitely let you know. But thank you for listening. That's all that I wanted to share regarding Xroad 8. But now my colleague Raido Kaju has some very exciting news to share with you. So Raido, over to you.
Thanks, Petteri. Say hello to everyone. Hope you've enjoyed the event so far. And I'm happy to announce that we are releasing beta number 2 of Xroad, which contains additional improvements to the technical side, containerization, and so forth. In fact, just a few moments ago, I also published the release notes. So I'll share them with you in the chat as well so that everyone can access the information there. But the key enhancements for beta 2 are related to the installation and upgrade scripts that we have now included, which should help improve the flow of installations on native deployments. They are also used in the background for containerization support. However, in those cases, those are unattended scripts. And for the upgrade script, we are supporting upgrades from version 7.8. This also includes patch versions of 7.8. So in the future, once Xroad 8 is out, you will have the opportunity to directly upgrade from your 7.8 version. And this is also now supported in the beta in case anyone wants to try it out already in practice. Then we also introduced the admin user creation in the containerized deployments view. So for that case, we now use database-based authentication. And this means that we also have the option of providing this admin user creation flow inside the wizard itself, making it simpler to set up. And we also initially hope to include setting up auto login as part of the beta already. However, when looking more into it, it did come out that there are more things to consider there. So unfortunately, it did not reach beta 2 at this stage. Then Petteri also mentioned as one of the features, improvements to the system parameter editing, and this has landed in beta 2 for the security server. So you are now able to edit the system parameters on the web interface and also, of course, over the REST API if you implement something related to it. However, it is only for the security server for now. Support for this future versions. And then on more technical side, we also updated the Java version to 25 so that we are on the latest long-term support there, improved the Kubernetes checks for liveliness and readiness so that the behavior there is better, and also general containerization improvements. And this leads us to what we would like you to give us feedback on regarding Xroad 8 and the beta so that we can hear about your experiences and see where we can improve things. So of course, the first thing is the installation and upgrade process. We would love to hear your feedback on it, how it performed for you, if there were any hiccups there. Then, of course, testing the upgrade from version 7.8. If at all possible in your environment, it would be good feedback for us. We have done internal testing on the upgrade scripts, but of course, there are a lot of different environments and different setups, so it would be valuable to get that type of feedback from your environments if possible. Looking into the containerization and monitoring specifically to see how the improvements suit your needs. And then finally testing out the system parameter editing through the web UI to see how it seems to you when you need to work with it day to day in the future. If there's some more improvements we can do there, if something is missing, if you feel like something is not perhaps the way that would make most sense, then we open the discussion as well on GitHub to get feedback on how you are happy with these features. But yeah, with that, I hope you enjoyed the event. I hope you will try out the beta, and thank you.